name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to be going over my October book haul. So I have over 20 books to show you guys today. I have not had the best self-control for the last few months now. Yeah, I am disappointed in myself. I'm sure my husband is disappointed in me. My bank account is certainly disappointed in me. However, I could not help myself. October had so many good book releases. So we're gonna jump right on in here. One of the first books that I purchased this month was Waiting for Spring Volume 8. This is by Hansen. This is a series that I have talked about multiple times on my channel. I absolutely love this one. I have not read this one yet, mostly because I read the other 7 a couple months ago and I just haven't quite gotten to this newest one. But this is a series that follows our main character of Mitsuki here. And she ends up making friends with the boys from the basketball team. This is just a really, really cute shoujo manga, and I absolutely love it. I also really enjoy the art style on here. It is just super clean, and it's like my favorite style. Then I also purchased Volume 1 of That Blue Sky Feeling by Okura. This is a series that I have not heard many people talk about, but I did just see Volume 1 at our store. Volume 2 will be coming out, I believe, at the beginning of this next year. This is a newer series, and I think that's why I haven't heard as many people talk about it. I'm definitely one of those people with manga where I like to usually have multiple books purchased at once so I can read them through one after the other. However, this one I just had to have, and I've already read it, and I will talk about it more in my wrap-up. But this is all about a character named Noshiro who transfers to a new school, and there's a boy there called Sanada who is sort of getting bullied because there's a rumor going around that he is gay. And so this is all about the new boy trying to sort of figure out if this is a thing and whether or not he is okay with it. So this is definitely a coming of age story. I do feel like there are definitely some cultural differences in here because it is set in Japan compared to like here in the United States, but I really enjoyed this story and I will talk about it more in my wrap up this month. Then I also purchased Escape Journey. This is by Ogretsu Tanaka. This is a book that I actually saw somebody on BookTube talk about in a negative way because this is a boys love, very explicit type of manga. I will again talk about this more in my wrap up. However, I haven't read a specific boys love manga in forever, and so this one had a premise that was actually okay for me. Apparently these are two boys that were together in high school but ended up breaking up for some reason, and then they meet their first year of college, and it's a sort of like, is this gonna happen again or not sort of story. Again, I will talk about this more in my wrap up. I will go over all of the apparent issues for this one that the other booktuber had. But again, this is another manga I picked up this month. And then the last manga that I picked up, you guys would have seen if you watched my Spookathon vlog. I will link that down below in case you guys are interested. But I did pick up Frankenstein by Junji Ito. This is an author that I absolutely love for horror manga. This is basically what he does. And I have pretty much every single book that he has ever written that has been translated into English, so I had to pick this one up for myself. This one here does have 2 separate halves, I want to say. We do have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley that he has adapted into a manga. It has his art style and everything, but it basically follows the exact Frankenstein story. And then we also have tales of Oshikiri in here. So I think it's 6 tales of this student named Oshikiri who is having like mysterious types of paranormal horror things happening to him and the house that he lives in. And that is definitely more of Junji Ito's style. Those are basically all his stories. So I had to pick this up. Jumping straight on from manga to graphic novels, the first one I picked up this month was Check Please by Gyozi Ukazu. I'm probably butchering that name, but this is a graphic novel that is from a webcomic. So I've actually read all of these before in the webcomic version. I've actually not read this physical version yet, but I am due for a reread, so I definitely need to reread this. However, as soon as I realized they were doing an actual printed version, I had to pick this up. This is about a freshman student who is getting on his college hockey team. This is more of a coming of age story for him because of the fact that we do get like the hockey team stuff and everything, but we also have him trying to figure out exactly who he is. He is somebody that used to be a figure skater and now is on the hockey team. He likes to bake pies. This is just an overall feel-good story, and I absolutely love it. I, again, also just really enjoy the art style on here. These are super fun and colorful and very clean, and I just absolutely love this one. Then I also picked up Saga Volume 9 by Fiona Staples and Brian K. Vaughan. Again, this is another series that I have been reading and loving for forever. As far as I know, this is the last one before they go on their hiatus, which means we will not be getting another one next year. I think the next one's coming out in like 2020 or something like that. But this is a like sci-fi fantasy series that I just absolutely love. It is very mature, so keep that in mind. But we follow these characters who are on pretty much different sides, different planets, different species of an intergalactic war, but they end up falling in love and making a family, and it's them trying to be that family when all this craziness is going on around them. We do have some sci-fi elements because they are from different planets and in space, and then we do have fantasy elements because some of them can use magic. It is just a whole epic fantasy and sci-fi adventure that I just absolutely love. Again, the art style is amazing. Again, super colorful. Love the way that this is drawn and everything that happens in here. I have not read this one yet, mostly because I want to reread the entire series before I get to this one, but I had to pick it up. Then I also picked up Alice from Dream to Dream. This is by Giulio Macione and Julia Adregna. This is a story that I had not heard much about. It just sort of showed up at my Barnes & Noble one day and I had to have it. The art pulled me in right away. But this is basically about our main character of Alice, who can be in other people's dreams. So like when her brother is asleep, if he is close enough in proximity to her, she can end up in his dreams, which are lately have been nightmares. And so there are some very interesting events that happen in here based on those dreams and everything. I absolutely love this. Again, I'll talk about it a little bit more in my wrap-up, but I really wish that there was a sequel to this. As far as I know, there isn't, but I am very interested to see more from these authors and illustrators. I absolutely love this. The last graphic novel that I picked up this month was Skyward Volume 1. This is by Joe Henderson. This is another one that I had no idea what it was about, but I saw it at my Barnes & Noble, had to pick it up. I just absolutely thought the cover was gorgeous. I loved the art style on here, and so I just needed it. But this is about a like close future type of sci-fi world where it's like if the Earth ended up with lower gravity than it does now. This is a very interesting story. I know that this is ongoing, and so we don't have Volume 2 out yet, but they are doing the individual issues for it. But we do follow our main character here, who is like a messenger where she goes out and like delivers packages and stuff like that, but her dad was one of the scientists who predicted that the low gravity was going to happen. I read this, I loved it. I will talk about it more in my wrap-up. Now we're jumping into the actual books that I purchased this month. The first was A Blade So Black by L.L. McKinney. I again read this for my Spookathon vlog, which is linked down below, but this is a story that is an Alice in Wonderland meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer type of tale. We do get those fantasy elements, but our Alice is a little bit more badass than the Alice from the traditional Alice in Wonderland. Again, we'll talk about this more in my wrap-up. Then I also picked up An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. This is a signed edition because I just had to when I saw it. I don't actually really remember what this is about. I have had this on my TBR since before we had a cover for it. It has been on there for forever, and at this point, I sort of just want to go into it blind. I know, at least at Barnes & Noble, it's shelved in the like sci-fi section, and I have heard that it has some elements of young adult in it as well though, so it's going to be, I want to say a slightly easier read than some of the sci-fi fantasy books that we have in the adult section. I do prefer a good sci-fi fantasy story, no matter the age grouping that they put it in, so I'm very excited for this one, and I absolutely love what they did with the cover here. It is gorgeous. Then I also picked up the print version of When Evil Comes to Play by B.L. Brennemer. This is the 5th book in a series that I absolutely love. It is one of my all-time favorites. This is a series about a girl named Lexi who can see ghosts. And so this is all about her having to deal with going to high school and seeing ghosts, but the veil, the way that the ghosts can escape our world and go on to the next, has been closed. So she's also dealing with the fact that she's basically the only person who can sort of help this. I absolutely love this. The author has done an amazing job going between the school problems and the normal human everyday problems and the paranormal aspect, which is amazingly well developed. The 6th book in this series just came out as an ebook on October 31st, the day I am filming this. I have not gotten to that yet, but as soon as that one comes out in paperback, I will be purchasing that as well. Then I also picked up Dear Evan Hansen. This is by Val Emick, Stephen Levinson, Benj Pasek, and Justin Paul. This is the novelization of the Dear Evan Hansen Broadway show. I have not seen that. I have heard some of the songs. I am very intrigued, and so when I saw that we were having an actual print version, I absolutely had to pick it up. I cannot wait to get into this. I also just love that we do have the little tree on the cover there, and then we have some really, really pretty end papers, and these are the ones in the back. Then I picked up 2 books in a series, duology, I'm not entirely sure, but the first one is Vicious and the second one is Vengeful, both by V.E. Schwab. I have not read these yet, but I have loved everything that I have read by V.E. Schwab. I am just super interested in the work. I love her writing style, so I had to obviously pick up the cover of Vicious that goes with our cover for Vengeful. There was an older cover for Vicious previously, but once they made this one, they redid the covers, so I had to pick those up. I don't know much about this series except for that it follows villains or anti-heroes, or I'm not entirely sure what they're considered, but I have heard amazing things. I also did obviously pick up the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. This one comes signed by her, which is just amazing. I also picked up The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. I absolutely loved A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by her, and so I had to pick this one up. Felicity, while a secondary character in the first book, was still a great character. I absolutely loved everything that she was in, so I had to pick this one up here. I don't know too much about it, but I do know it is going to be following Felicity, and I believe she's trying to go to a medical school or something like that, but she ends up on a pirate ship. I don't know much else, but I'm very interested in this one. The next few books I have are from book boxes. The first is Pride by E.B. Zolboy. This is the one that we got in our owl crate for this month. I absolutely love this cover, especially since they do come with gorgeous exclusive end papers for owl crates, and of course it is signed. This I don't know much about as well, but it is a Pride and Prejudice retelling. I've never read Pride and Prejudice. I'm not the biggest fan of some of those classic novels, especially Jane Austen, but I've heard many good things about this, and I'm very interested to see what this author has done with it, because it is bringing it more into a modern day setting, and so I'm very excited to read this one. Also from that Owl Crate box, because we got 2 books this month, we have Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa, and then here's our signature for this one as well. I absolutely love Julie Kagawa's work, and so I was super excited to get this one. From what I understand, this one follows our main character of Yumiko, who is a yokai. From what I understand, that is a sort of like demon-ish creature in Japan folklore. And she is half human and half kitsune, which is like a fox type of creature. I don't know if it's a spirit or if it's just a fox, but she ends up being orphaned, I believe, because of some tragic event, and so she is trying to find the Scroll of 1,000 Prayers, because it's going to grant a wish or something, but there's also somebody else who is trying to find it for, I believe, nefarious purposes. So I'm very interested in this one. I love the fact that it's going to have Japanese like folklore and mythology mixed in here, and I am so excited to read this. Then in our shelf love crate this month, we did get Grim Lovelies by Megan Shepherd. This one is another exclusive cover from Shelf Love Crate this time, and like our Owl Crate books, this one is signed. From what I understand, this follows our main character of Anouk, who is considered a beastie. She was an animal that was changed into a human by a witch. And then one day, the witch ends up getting murdered, and people think Anouk did it. So there ends up being a 3-day period where her and her fellow beasties can try and figure out who the actual murderer is of the witch, so that they can stay human, I believe, instead of being turned back into beasties. This is also, I believe, set in modern day Paris. So I'm very excited to see the sort of like real world setting mixed with some fantasy and magic. I'm so excited for this one. And then from our October Unplugged book box, we did receive What the Woods Keep by Katya de Becerra. This is another one I read during the Spookathon, but this is one that follows our main character of Hayden, who, when she is 18, I believe, she ended up getting the deed to her mom's house through her mom's will, because her mom went missing like at least 10 years ago, and there are very mysterious circumstances surrounding the disappearance. There's lots of omens and dreams and stuff that Hayden has been getting, so this is a very like fantasy, magical driven mystery. And then we have 3 more books left. These are considered more middle grade children's books. But one thing that I noticed at the store the other week, and I just could not let sit there, I had to purchase them. We have some new covers for Artemis Fowl by Owen Colfer. I absolutely love the series. This is one of those series where I sometimes forget how much I love it until I'm actually thinking about it. Like, I have the whole series already on my shelf, and I haven't really thought about it much. I know I've done a few like favorite series things on my YouTube channel, and this never really pops up, but this is probably one of my absolute favorite series, even though it is a middle grade series. I just absolutely love it. The first book originally came out when I was in 6th grade, and so I just sort of grew up with this series as well. There is going to be a movie coming out, I believe, in 2019, and so I think that's why they started doing some new covers. They only have the first 2 books in the new covers right now. It does look like they're going to be doing a couple more maybe every month or so until they're all out. There's 8 books in the series, so that we have 6 more covers to come out, and I'm just so excited. But they are absolutely gorgeous. You guys are probably seeing this backwards. This is the first one, this is the second one. So we do have Artemis Fowl, just Artemis Fowl, and then Artemis Fowl, the Arctic Incident here. I love what they've done with these. They are absolutely gorgeous. I love the art style of them and the colors. It is absolutely gorgeous. Because I am me, I'm going to show you guys the comparisons of the old covers. And by old covers, I mean new covers. And this is the 3rd time they're doing covers for the books. We had the original covers, new covers, and the new covers. I am planning on keeping both sets of covers on my shelves because I love them that much, but let me show you guys. Okay, so we have the new covers, and then this was the cover from right before that. Again, they still look super nice, but I had to pick these up because look at how bright and colorful they are. They are absolutely gorgeous. And then here is the comparison for the 2nd book in the series. Again, I think the vibe of them is actually pretty similar, and so I just absolutely love these. I picked them up. I'm gonna end up having 2 whole sets of this series on my shelf, and I feel no shame. And then, because I'm me, the very last book that I picked up this month is 8 Little Planets by Chris Ferry. This is a children's board book. I have been a little bit baby crazy for the last few months. Nothing has happened yet. We're not pregnant. We don't have kids, but I could not resist picking this up. This is adorable. So this is a little board book for kids that talks about the 8 planets, and it gets closer and closer to the sun as it goes. It rhymes. It is just adorable. My one issue with this is there's only 8 planets. There's no Pluto, but on the back, the book is dedicated to Pluto, which is just so fitting. Chris Ferry, because I know people have probably not talked about this on BookTube, because these are all like children's board books, but Chris Ferry has an entire series of board books for kids that are all science related. So they have like the ABCs of science and like astrophysics for babies and like that kind of stuff, and it's just super cute. They are easy to read, they're easy for the kids to understand. Some of them are a little bit harder than others. Like I know like the ABCs ones have like A is for Adam, and then you read that line first when they're younger, and then as they get older there's another line that you can add on, and as they get even older there's another line, and it goes like more in depth with these science aspects, and I absolutely love it. I am planning on getting a whole bunch of these when I eventually do have a kid, but for now I have 8 little planets. So those are all the books that I have this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Leave me a comment down below letting me know if you've read any of these books, because I'm very interested in seeing what you guys thought. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos. I do have videos up every Monday and Thursday, so I will see you then. Bye!